Hello, everybody. Hello. How is everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Y'all, today is the 12th of August. Oh, my glory. I'm noticing there's quite of a delay in what you see and what I'm saying. So if you have comments or questions for me, try to keep that in mind because I'm noticing it's like 20 seconds or so. Hopefully the audio stays in tune today. Hello, everybody. It's great to see you. Before we get started today, I just have a couple things. Hello, everybody. Hello. Before we get started, I put up on the screen the date of the mug rug of the month. Y'all, we're doing a mug rug series. It's like an extended year series where we come live one night a month and do a free mug rug pattern. I just got it out of the dryer, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. But take note of the date. It's Wednesday, August 24th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to show you that mug rug here. I have not released the pattern for it. I still have to write it. But I made the mug rug yesterday and it's super cute. So stay tuned to see that. The date for the next two blocks of all the things are up on the screen. And you'll notice the little white box. I just want to do like an invitation this week. Last week, right at the end of the live, Miss Sylvia asked if she could share the name of her YouTube channel. And because of the delay, I ended the live and then her comment popped up and I was like, oh no. So I thought it would be a great idea. So if you are a YouTube content creator and you are watching this either on the live or on the replay, please share your channel. There are so many really talented content creators here on YouTube. Anywhere from sewing, quilting, journaling, paper crafting. We want to come check out your channels. And so if you have a channel, please share the name of your channel so that everyone can come see what you are up to. Let me just tell you, personally, and I can only speak for myself, making videos is rough, especially if you're an introvert like I am. It takes a lot to step out of the box and to put yourself out there. And these content creators share the most precious resource that they could ever give, and that's their time, right? You can't get that back. And they're sharing lots of time and lots of talent and putting themselves out there. And I just want to, if you haven't ever checked out any of their videos, go give them a watch and subscribe and follow along with them. Okay? Yeah, so let's switch over before we dive into today's block, which is super cute. I want to show you a preview of the mug rug of the month coming up next week. And also, before I switch over, if you're on Patreon, don't forget and mark your calendars because next Tuesday, the 16th, we're doing our monthly Patreon meeting, show and tell and get together. And then we're doing the block of the month workshop. So don't forget next Tuesday evening. Okay, let's switch over. Hello, everybody. Hello. Let's switch on over to the cutting mats. Let me show you this cute little adorable mug rug. I haven't named it yet. I'm thinking something witty like sunflower mug rug. After writing so many patterns, I just figuring out names for stuff, I just draw a blank. So I'm like, you know what? Sunflower mug rug. That's probably what I'll call it. But it is super cute, right? It's got little raw edges. I just washed and dried it one time. I was really hoping the edges frayed a little bit more, but I used a flannel. Oh, there we go. I used a flannel, and so it's not fraying quite as much as I had hoped. But isn't that super cute? Vicki, you're a whole week ahead of yourself, Vicki. You just jumped in time a whole week ahead of yourself. Isn't that super cute? It's a nice little mug rug. This could even be a trivet, y'all. Wouldn't that be cute for fall decor, fall get-togethers, little sunflower trivets on the table? So that's what we're doing next week. Stay tuned, and if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be notified when I put the thumbnail up. which is usually a few days ahead of time, so you can grab the pattern and come hang out with me during the live. But isn't that cute? I love it. I'll probably use just regular quilter's cotton when I make the mug rug with you, although I do like this flannel. It's kind of cozy and thick. All right, so let's take a look at the block that we're making this week. Y'all, we're doing the teacup this week. And if you haven't already, grab your free PDF for the 5-inch version. That's what we're making today during the live. There we go. The 5-inch version. Okay, and I do have the 12-inch version in my Etsy shop, and that is what that looks like. Of course, yours is going to look different depending on the fabrics you use, right? And I think that's one of the awesome things about creating is that we all start off with the same pattern, but each one of our blocks looks totally unique and different. So let's just go over a few of the things that I did with this because I did not do this by hand. I was just running out of time, y'all. So I did do a whipped back stitch for the steam. I did that by hand. I did a chain stitch for the little string that holds the tag for the tea bag. I did that by hand, and I did some lazy daisies at the top of my cup, which I think, even though they're not perfect, they're perfect for me, and I love them. And then everything else I did by machine, right? A little satin stitch around the applique. I used the triple straight stitch by the machine to do the letters. And then a simple zigzag stitch for all the rest of the applique except for the tag, which I did a really tiny blanket stitch. So I think that's cute. And then I just used a micron pen and wrote a little decoration on the tag, which is super cute, right? So that is the 12-inch version. Of course, I just wrote down on the last page, not that. I grabbed everything off the printer. Everything that I did with my block. I even did a little diagram for the lazy daisy stitch. If you've never done that, to make a flower. And of course you have all your templates, and y'all, I cut all of my applique pieces out with my scan and cut, and I've kind of come up with a plan as we're moving all this stuff out of the way. One of my blocks, the block with the butterfly, I ended up sending to a friend of mine. So you'll see all of my blocks are up on the design wall. I want a complete set of 16 blocks, which means I have to remake the butterfly block. And many of you have been saying that you don't use your scan and cut, you don't use your crickets, you don't use your silhouette. Since you've bought it, it's still in the box. So now I have not figured out when, but I want to do a Zoom where we're all together, and I'm going to walk you through my process from having the fabric and having some heat and bond light and getting those elements cut out on my scan and cut, right? A live class with all of us there, and you can ask questions. That's my plan. I don't know all the details. Still trying to figure that out. All right, so today I'm going to use something that we haven't used yet. Let me turn this iron on. I don't know why I feel so nervous today. It could be the extra coffee I've had. I don't know. I feel like anxious. Okay, everybody. Today, we're going to use some lace. Now, my apologies because I have so many awesome friends who send me stuff. This was not mine. It was sent to me, but it was sent to me in a package with other stuff too. And since then, I've unloaded all of the stuff and put it away in my journal making drawers. And so I pulled this out today. And I can't quite remember exactly who it's from, although I have a good idea. I don't want to say just in case I'm wrong. But we're going to be using some lace today. I already cut myself off a little piece. And I really felt like this cup needed to be sitting on something, right? And many of you gave some great suggestions last week, like doilies and things like that. I thought I would make a table out of lace. How cute will that be? Right? So that's what we're doing. I've already pre-cut all my pieces. Let's just put them there for a second. There's not a lot of applique pieces to this block. Not a lot. I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces ready for glue basting. But I thought instead of sewing down the lace with the sewing machine, which would be faster, I have black thread in my sewing machine. And I didn't want to unthread and all that stuff while we're live. So I'm just going to do a quick hand stitch with some white pearl cotton. And I'm going to do that before we layer the layers. All right, and that's going to go by quick, or as quick as I can possibly make it. But it gives everybody an opportunity to hang out and to chit chat and to share your channels. I hope you do. Y'all, I have so many people that I like to watch. And here's my thing, y'all. I have a true people-pleasing personality. I'm always scared that I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. Occasionally, you will hear me list off a couple channels that I like to watch, but I really don't like to do that. And let me just explain why. Because I'm always forgetting channels just because I'm talking on the spot, right? And inevitably, when I list channels, I'm just putting a little knot at the end of my pearl cotton thread, right? Inevitably, when I list channels, I'm one of those kind of people that after a conversation has happened, I go and rethink everything I said, and I'm like, oh, I forgot this, and I forgot that, and oh no, I forgot this channel that I watch. So a lot of the times I hesitate in naming off channels because I don't want to forget anybody. And I'm always scared I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. But I don't really mean to ever. All right, so the first thing I want to do with this lace, y'all, is just do a quick little glue basting so I can hand stitch it and it stays in place, right? Just a smidgen of glue stick. But I also, because this lace has a pretty little edge. Actually, nope. Let's turn it upside down so that edge is like that. Yeah, let's do that. And then the binding will come over and finish that off. Okay, that's perfect. A lot of the times I'm just kind of winging it, y'all. Kind of winging it. I'm just going to do a little tiny smidgen of glue. We're going to glue baste this lace right in place. I don't know what that lace is made out of, so let's just cover it and press it. Oh, well, glory day. Now we have to wait for that to warm up. It wasn't even seated in the right position. That is my only downfall to my little cordless iron, is you have to like really pay attention and make sure that it seats down inside the little hooky thing. That's my only like criticism of that iron. A lot of the times I don't have it in all the way. All right, I think that should be good. I just want to temporarily baste this ribbon in place anyway. And let that cool off. I'm just going to do a quick running stitch with this white thread. And that'll permanently sew it down in place. Y'all pardon my hands today. My hands are struggling quite a bit today. So this is going to be the only handwork we're doing today. My goal with this stitch is really just to have this white thread kind of blend in with the lace anyway. I'm not doing any decorative stitches, and I didn't want this stitch to show up on the back. So that's why we're going to do it before creating our layers, right? I don't want to draw it up tight. I should lay off that coffee. I'm going to tell you that right now. I need to just go on and switch on over to the water today. So this past week, I finished up my toil or my toile quilt. I don't know if you're on Facebook, you might have seen the pictures that I shared. If you're on Facebook and you missed it, go over to my page and check that out. It turned out so pretty. I am thrilled with it. I even made some quilted pillow shams that go with it. And now we're just waiting for her to come by and pick that quilt up so it can go to its forever home. I'm just doing big stitches right across in that lace, and they're almost disappearing. There we go. And I didn't want to draw it up tight, right? Just loose like that. And I can save the rest of that thread for something else. Now let me go ahead and trim off this lace right there. These aren't the perfect scissors for that, but they're nice and sharp. All right, so there's the lacy table for my cup to sit on, right? And now we can go ahead and glue baste these layers and get the applique put down. I'm using sort of a darker sky blue for the back fabric, a warm and natural for the middle, and then we will just glue baste this top piece in place. So yeah, if you have some lace or some trimmings, I hope you get creative and maybe use some lace in some of your blocks. I don't want to scorch that lace. It doesn't feel cotton. It feels like a synthetic, so I don't want to melt it. I'm just going to cover that part when I press it. Hello, Earl. I saw you this time. I'm not going to miss you again. I'm going to tell you that. Is this a quilting channel? Had I known about YouTube back in the coffee shop days, it would have been a coffee channel. And then you could have come and been a guest speaker and shown people how to make fancy lattes. Earl is my cousin, y'all. Say hello to Earl. I missed his comment a couple weeks ago, and he did not hesitate to let me know about it. I love you so much. I'm so glad I got to see you the other day. All right, I think I've effectively scorched the warm and natural in the middle of my layers, but that's okay, I can fix it. So the applique pieces, y'all, for this week are simple, right? We have the top of the cup, the base of the cup, which when I drew it, was supposed to be a saucer, but it looks more like a fluted bottom to the coffee cup. We've got the tag and the handle. So those are all the pieces. The trickiest one was cutting out the handle with the little S shapes in the middle. That was the trickiest part. So now just deciding where to place everything. And I just want to keep in mind that we have those seam allowances, right? I don't want anything too close to the edges where it might get cut off. We're going to tuck that handle right up underneath of the mug. And the mug will go right over top of the fluted section at the bottom. Like that. Let's give that a quick press so it doesn't move around. And then let's put the little tag right in place. I'm going to cover up that little mushroom right there. You know what? I just noticed. Do you know what I just noticed on this one? Let me show you something. Let me get these pieces fused in place. I thought this looked kind of funny. I thought it looked kind of funny, y'all. This section of the cup is missing. I just noticed that. That's why it looks funny. Or maybe when I drew it, I intended to just do a stitch there. So if you want to do this portion in fabric, trace that right on the pattern. You can use that as a tracing template. Okay, you don't have to have it separated because you would actually overlap the top of your cup anyway. All right, so let me show you what I'm going to do. I need a heat erasing pen. Here's one. Let's let this cool off for a second so this doesn't disappear. Jackie said, how do you fix your batting when it doubles up like that in your block? Mine doubles. Hers does that. The very first video, the very first block we did in this series, the batting did that. Every other block has not done that. I don't know. It's the same exact batting, cut from the same exact roll and everything. I don't know why, unless I just have my iron up entirely too hot, which I did. It was on the linen setting. The first block, I did not remake it. So I just sprayed it with water and sort of blocked it, right? Just laid it flat to dry, and that took care of it. All right, so this is how I'm going to fix my missing piece. I'm just going to draw it right in there, and maybe this is what I intended all along. I don't know. But now I have a little tiny string for my tag. So this is just a friction fine liner. This will disappear, and I'm just going to stitch that line right there and finish off the cup like that. Okay, so there's a couple different options. Who knows what I was thinking when I drew that? All right, so I have black thread in my top and in my bobbin, and I haven't thought a whole lot on the stitches I'm going to use to sew everything down. I'm thinking, what am I thinking? I'd really like to just do a straight stitch on this free motion. So let's do a zigzag stitch around the cup and for this little line and for the base of the cup. And then I'm going to switch the foot over to a free motion foot, and I'm going to do the outline of the tag and the little curvy parts of the handle. Let's do that. Bye, Earl. I love you so much. All right, so let's switch over to the sewing machine. And let me move my stool over. So I have my open toe foot on so that hopefully you can see a little bit better. And let's switch over to a zigzag stitch. And I want it to be a tiny zigzag stitch, y'all. So I'm gonna just play with a couple settings because I did not do any prep work today. I just have like a scrap. It's got batting in the middle so I can see how the thread reacts, right? And get a more truer stitch that I'm going to actually use on my block. So I just have this scrap and we're just going to pick a place. I'm going to find the right setting that I want to use. That's pretty tiny and that looks wide enough. So I'm happy with that. It is a zigzag stitch and the length is 2.0 and the width is 0.6. So if you're looking for settings, start there and see what you think and adjust your machine according to what your thread is doing, right? So for my cup, I think I want to start at the base, the flute or the saucer of this cup. It looks more like a flute, less like a saucer. We're going to go ahead and stitch that down first. I know black seems like an odd thread color to use with these particular colors of fabric. However, I've been using black on a lot of my applique in these blocks because it forms like an outline around the pieces and I've fallen in love with it. And if this is your first video, I'm going to show all of the blocks we've made at the end so that you can see what I'm saying. All right, when we get to the base of the cup, I'm going to stop and actually remove this from the sewing machine. I don't too much like to use my thread cutter in the middle of my block pieces like that. It just creates sort of a mess on the back. Now the reason I did that is because I want to stitch this line here and then transition to the outside of the cup all in one motion without breaking thread. And I thought it might be tricky if we just continued from here. So I'm just going to start right at this line right there. And I'm going to stitch over that hand-drawn line for the top of the rim of the cup. Now when I get to the edge of the mug, we're going to continue all the way around. So my needle is actually touching the edge, but it's lowered in the background fabric, not the mug fabric. Just working all the way right around. See that nice bold line it's creating? I think that yellow trim, the yellow in the lace, is perfect. It just ties in with the yellow of the cup. Now, as we approach here, and you can kind of see the handle a little bit better in this light and probably more clear, I just wanted to talk about a couple of the options that you could use, because I'm going to switch over to a free motion foot because that's quick and easy for me, right? But I know a lot of you don't like to do that. I think you could certainly use a satin stitch. Let's look at some of the stitches I have on here. You could certainly use a really tiny zigzag stitch. I think that you'd want to use something thin like this because you have some parts that are thinner. And if you use the wider zigzag stitch, kind of like what I'm using up here, there are some parts that zigzag stitch is going to fill in the whole area of your fabric in that handle, which is fine if that's the look you're looking for. I'm just thinking out loud and expressing some of the things that you might want to think about when you're choosing stitches to sew down something like the handle, okay? A blanket stitch would work really nicely too, right? That's more open and would show more of your handle fabric. And if you've come in after we started the live and you're a YouTube content creator, just know that today I hope that you share your channel with everybody, okay? See, that's where we started. We can just continue right on over to where it meets up. All right, so there is the outline. I think that looks really nice, right? And you almost lose sight of the fact that it's black thread, right? Just because it forms that nice outline and shows off the shapes. So it doesn't so much matter that I don't have any black fabric going on in here. I really just like that outline, and I think that looks nice. So let's take that away. And it's only going to take me a second to switch out this foot, y'all. So just bear with me. Chat amongst yourselves. A lot of the times I will lower my feed dogs, which you can do on this machine. But I find that she does pretty well without lowering them too. So I'm not going to. But here is my free motion foot. It is the closed toe free motion foot. I do have an open toe foot where you can see a lot better, and I wish that I could get it to perform as nicely as the closed toe, because I think you'd be able to see what I'm doing a lot better. But she doesn't like to behave with that foot. I'm going to just choose a straight stitch, and I am lowering my stitch length to a 0. And we're going to do just a straight stitch along the raw edges of the handle. And I lost my little string, but we're going to do a straight stitch around the tag too. So if this is your first time ever seeing this, just know that I'm not sewing over the raw edge of these fabrics, which means they might fray. I'm okay with that. And I'm really okay with that with this project because I know this quilt will never be washed anyways. So the chances of it fraying anymore are pretty slim. Couple little stitches just to lock it. And I'm just going just inside that fabric. I'm even going to travel right along the edge of this cup to get this piece down here. Oh no, a bird just hit my window. And then I'm going to travel right along the edge of that cup to come back and get the other side of this handle. And then, so that looks pretty nice. I'm just going to do a couple stitches and then we're jumping over to the tag. I'm going to start right at the top of the tag on this one. I thought it would be really fun to see all the different fabrics you could use as the tag. I picked a plain Jane fabric so that I could use my micron pen and write a little something in the tag. So there is a closer up view of my block, right? The little hand stitches for the lace, they're hidden in the middle, so you don't even see them, right? And this is what the block looks like from the back. Let me trim these little jump stitches. So there is my block from the back. There we go. So super cute, right? I think depending on where you put your cup in the block, you could even do some of the little steam lines, like the big block, you could do that. You could put a couple little sugar cubes here, or the beginnings of a spoon laying on the table. There's all kinds of different things that you could get creative and do with your blocks, right? Let me move my stool back over. So here she is. Y'all pardon my messy pressing board. This is what it looks like when you've been working. There's glue and starch and all kinds of stuff on my pressing board. Yes, so there she is. And I thought, just to finish her off, we could do a couple little hand-drawn hearts on the tag. One of the reasons I love these micron pens is because they don't spread. So you can handwrite and it looks nice and neat, and it doesn't like expand and spread out into your fabric. So there is the little tag for my tea. Isn't that cute? Yes. All right, so let's bring in all of the rest of this, and I just have it pinned together. It's just safety pins all together in place. Let me make some room for it. So that's block 12, y'all. Mary said, is Micron a brand name? Let me show you what that pen looks like. What did I do with it? Oh. Let me clear out the space and I'll show you a close-up version of that pen so you know what to look for. You can find these pens at Joann Fabrics, Michael's, your craft stores. Even some of your quilt stores have them. It is called Pigma Micron, and they have different colors. They have different tips, like really, really tiny and bigger tips. But they're archival ink, and Micron permanent ink for waterproof and fade-proof fine lines. Yes. So this is where we are, and not everything's going to show up in the view, right? So we have the heart. I'm going to be covering the heart. I just want to move it down here. I think I've committed to this layout, swapping these two blocks. Everything else was in order up until then. And then I'm going to put my teacup right down here. This block finishes the third row. That's crazy, right? Each one of these was a week. And when we started this series, I was like, wow, this is going to take forever to do this series. But it's just flying by so quick, y'all. I cannot believe how fast the year is going by. So I still have to do my sashing between my blocks, right? Because we're doing quilt as we go. So I need to join these blocks together and then add a sashing at the bottom. And then we'll be starting the last 4 blocks of this series. Colleen said, for writing on labels, micron or fabric markers. I've heard mixed reviews, Colleen. Okay, so I've heard some people use the micron pen to write their labels, and then when they washed their quilt a couple of times, the micron pen started fading. So I don't know. You might be safer to choose a fabric marker because it was made with the intent of being washed, right? But I would tell you, I struggle with handwriting with a fabric marker because a lot of the fabric markers that I use, if you're not really fast with your handwriting, if you stay any length of time on the fabric, the line grows, at least for me. So I have better control with the micron. But here's what I would do, right? I would do a couple quilt label examples, and I would do one with micron pen and one with a couple different fabric markers, right? And just write a couple lines and then sew around the edges and finish it off, right? And just throw it in the wash every time you do a couple loads of laundry. And just take notes, which one is lasting longer. And that would be the safest bet before you commit to putting a label on your quilt, especially if you're gifting it away, right? If it's going to be your quilt, you could always take the label back off and redo it. But if that quilt does not live with you anymore, it's kind of hard to replace that, right? Yeah, see, Debbie said for me, the micron went away after a couple washes. That's what I've heard. And maybe, Debbie, it was you who I heard say that before. I forget. But that's what I've heard. But see, I tend to use the micron pen more in projects like this. This is not going to get washed. And so it's there and I don't have to worry about it fading or washing away, right? I just want to thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. Let me show you. You might have seen it because I think I used this page as a pressing cloth when I pressed the ribbon at the bottom, the little lace. This is block 13. This is next Friday, y'all. We're doing the iron. And my camera's on a weird angle today. Everything seems angled to me. The iron, next Friday. I've already started the bigger version of this block, and I'm kind of regretting a fabric choice that I did when I cut everything out, but I'm going to commit to it and figure out a way to love it. You'll see that next Friday, or if you follow me on Facebook, you might see it before then. But I did use a fabric that I'm not really happy with where it's placed on my block. Do you ever do that? And when I was cutting out the pieces for the big block for next week, I was like, I really want to use this fabric, but I'm not sure how it's going to look. And then I cut it out and fused it in place, and I don't love how it looks, but I don't want to redo it. So I'm going to figure out a way to love it. So you'll be able to get this pattern next Thursday here on my channel. I'll put the thumbnail up on Thursday, right? And yeah, that's where we are so far. The Aleene's glue really glued the little sequins down great, and those aren't going anywhere. And yes, only 4 more blocks for this quilt. These are all wobbly because they're just safety pinned in place. Jackie said, looking forward to the iron. I made an old-fashioned iron board to go on it. Yay! Sand of the Sun said, fuse something on top. It's kind of big, and it's at the bottom. I don't know. There's still time. I might redo that part. We'll see. We'll see. I just want to thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. I get to go through the live chat later on this afternoon and see all the YouTube creators that shared their channels. And maybe I'll learn of someone new who I haven't seen before. And yeah, show some love to your fellow creatives. It's certainly, especially, I know a lot of creators, a lot of creative people are very, very shy. Not all of you, not all of us. I am, and I can really only speak for myself, but I know that a lot of us are very shy and more inward people. Y'all, I could sit in this room by myself all day and be completely content and happy and love my life. Right? It takes a lot to put yourself out there. And so when other people make content, they are really, really giving you a piece of themselves, right? And it takes a lot to put yourself out on the internet. Y'all know this. The internet is not a nice place a lot of the times. It's not. I have a TikTok account. I have like 5 videos on it. I would love to create more, but you want to talk about mean. There's some mean comments over on TikTok. So I just hesitate and I use TikTok as enjoyment purposes only, really. And I focus my time here on YouTube. But even that, y'all, the internet can be a mean place. So for someone to put themselves out there and be willing to accept that it's not always an easy or fun place to be, that takes a lot. And so, yeah, show some channels your love and Y'all are doing such a good job. You are. Just a quick note, since we're finished up with our blog, I watch a lot more than I comment during the lives. I don't like to be a distraction to the lives, right? And I feel like if I say anything, that sometimes I'm distracting. Do you know what I'm saying? So most of the time I'm just stalking and watching. But I'm just like everybody else, and I like to participate in the lives. And I thought about creating a second YouTube account so that I could join in the lives, because I love talking to everybody and I love asking questions. And when you're doing something interesting, I want to let you know that is really cool. But I don't want to pretend like I'm somebody else when I'm watching your videos either. So these are the struggles that I go through. These are the things that go through my mind. I really want to comment, but I don't want to be a distraction. And I don't want to pretend to be somebody else and disguise myself, right? So just know that I watch a lot more than I comment. I love the live videos too. I really do. Y'all can kind of tell that I've transitioned a lot more over to doing the lives, which not everybody loves, right? We're not the same. Not everybody loves the live video format. The videos tend to be longer. I know. I get it. And if you're someone who skips through to see certain sections on the replay, you miss a lot of details in between, important discussions, important details. But you also don't want to be there for the entire conversation. And I know, I get it. But just here lately, time for me, I've been really busy, which is a blessing, right? It is a blessing to be so busy that making videos in between going live, I just haven't had the time for it. I want to do more recorded videos that are shorter and to the point. And I seem to go through seasons in my business, and maybe there will be more time for that next month, next week, I don't know. But for right now, the live format for me works the best. And when I can do a recorded video and time permits that, then I am still looking forward to do that. Y'all are so sweet. Robin, a lot of the times I would turn you on and just have you in the background. Because here's another thing, y'all, is that a lot of y'all stream during the day. And most of the time it takes a lot of mental focus, and I work best with music. But every once in a while I take a lunch break and I can catch your lives if you're streaming. And then sometimes I'll just turn you on and I'm working in the background and I can't comment, but I'll talk to you from across the room and you never know it, right? And I think a lot of us do that. I've heard a lot of you say that I just turn on your videos and you're just talking in the room with me while I'm doing stuff. And it keeps me company, and I talk to you and you never even know it, but you're just hanging out with me. A lot of the times that's how it is for me too. So yeah, I just want to thank y'all so much for watching. And I think that's everything, right? I don't know if you came in, if you saw Black of the Month. We're doing that on the 24th. It's super cute. What did I do with it? Let me show you in case you missed it. I was trying to think of a witty name, but I think we're just going to go with Sunflower Mug Rug. I think I'm going to say Sunflower Mug Rug / Trivet, because I really think this is a good size for a trivet, right? I really think that. So I think I'm going to say Mug Rug / Trivet. It's going to be a free pattern. So, yeah, follow along, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. If you're here in Virginia, I heard a rumor that it's supposed to be a little bit cooler tomorrow and Sunday. I guess we'll see. All right, everybody. If I don't see you somewhere on the internets before next Friday, I'll see you then. Okay? Bye.